So actually today it's connected to the PARASHA, TISSA, or KISSA for Ashkenaz. No discrimination.
I say Kisita too. Don't worry.
That's the Israeli.
Yeah,
No
So-
one says Kisita.
No.
Kitisa.
Kitisa, sorry, yeah, it's with a tough first and
Right.
yeah,
The-
okay.
yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever. You know what he means.
Yeah, if I read it, I would read it. Anyway.
So right away at the beginning of Parsha, so actually it's a shiur that Sfardim love usually, and Ashkenaz don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, or we'll go over the head, but it depends. So the idea was like that. It says right away at the beginning. כי תישא את ראש, וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, כי תישא את ראש בני ישראל לפקודיהם, ונתנו איש כופר נפשו לשם פפקוד אותם, ולא יהיה בהם נגב בפקוד אותם. So, that Hashem tells Moshe that when you're going to count the heads of the Bnei Israel, according to the numbers, they shall all give, as a part of their atonement, of the soul, a chatzi shekel, right? And that's how you're going to count them, so that if there will not be a plague among them. Very strong words. So he's saying, for you not to have the plague among you, I need you to take a chatzi shekel, instead of counting the person itself, you're going to take half a shekel, and you're going to count that half shekel instead of counting the actual person by name or the individual specifically. What does Rashi say? Why? שהמניין שולט בו עין הרע. Now here is our famous story about the Ayin Hara, the famous concept of the evil eye. He says that the minyan, the number, is going to breed Ayin Hara. So this Ayin Hara is always, we always talk about it, especially by Sfardim, Ashkenaz on Purim when they're drunk, or but like, is it real? Is it not real? What's the whole thing about Ayin Hara? So actually, in today's society, it's much more understandable than ever before. Mm-hmm. Because we know, thanks to quantum physics, and thanks to the double slit experiment. Are you familiar with double slit experiment? Double slit experiment, basically, they made experiment to see when you send a particle with a particle cannon. So when you send, really you should see the video because it's a little bit complex. But when you send a particle and you don't observe where the particle goes, and there's two slits, it shoots through the holes, and it appears to be random, and it creates a certain. It goes straight, basically. It creates just a straight, like a laser particle. It goes straight. Once you observe, because they try to observe where the particle goes, because they just realize that it goes different places. Once you observe the particle, then the pattern change and it transforms from a particle trajectory into a wave pattern. So they realized, and that has been proven, it's well known, it's a fact, that when you observe something, the thing change. The reaction of the world, reality, changes. And they made so many movies and theories based on that is the world really reality?
Lucy.
Or what?
Matrix.
Lucy, Matrix, exactly. All those things according to that. Or is it that the way you look at the
I saw a
world...
movie one time.
What?
I'm joking.
That the way you look at the world is what the world makes it be the way it is. Meaning that reality is an illusion because you're perceiving reality a certain way, but the true reality is not like that. The true reality is particles, but when you observe it, becomes wave. So whatever, we can speak for hours. There are tons of videos and stuff
And
about
also
it.
reality is relative.
Right.
Meaning, like, if somebody's depressed, the world is, like, the world is a terrible place, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that's the case, just
Exactly.
it's your perception.
Excellent. So that's the first concept. And the idea is that, and in Kabbalah we have been speaking about that for a long time, that the world is made of energy. Today it's proven, all the scientists start discovering everything is made out of energy. And really, the same way there's energy in a plant, and it radiates, and like radiation, right? You don't see it, but it has effect. The same idea, you as a human being generate energy, and when you look at something, you're going to generate also energy. Okay, so whether it is from the awareness, the consciousness of looking at something, or just the fact that you're looking at something, it's a certain energy. You could say the same thing about hearing or speaking. Speaking, we know definitely it's energy, the vibration of your voice, right? All that comes from. So what's happening is that the idea is here that if you want to be saved from plagues, from destruction, from danger, you have to not count the person itself. So there are many ways to explain it, but we're focusing on AYIN because that's what Rashi says. So what's AYIN? AYIN means that, and really in many ways, this is the whole struggle of humanity since the beginning of time. Right? The first murder was caused by AYIN. Cain wanted the Hevel's twin. He saw that she had an extra twin, and he wanted her for him. He got jealous. What's the opinion of
Twin.
Yes, basically they were both born. It's the midrash. It's in the midrash.
It was that one's carbon got accepted. One
It started with that, but it was not the only issue. It's true. There's the midrash in the Torah.
Okay, so quick question.
Yeah.
I was always under the assumption, I may be wrong here, that Ayin Hara is like bad karma, so to speak. It's like a bad vibe, bad energy that's going to impact you in negative ways, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that not be Ayin Hara and be jealousy, which is not Ayin Hara, but there's a word for it. There's like a Hebrew word for jealousy.
Kina.
Possibly kina.
Right. So in a way, it is. It is. Yes, it's what produces, but it's done by the way you look at things. Meaning, the kina, where does it... Lo sasuru achare levavchem v'achare einechem. Or it says levavchem before einechem. First you see, then you... Because you start seeing really what you desire. And if you desire something that is not yours, your eyes are going to be the things that's gonna attach itself to what you really desire, and that's gonna have impact. So it is connected to the heart, to the.
So if other people are jealous of you, it's an Ayin Hara for you.
Yeah. So let's
how does that make sense?
So first of all, it's a really, you have to understand the big picture. The first of the Ten Commandments.
No,
we're gonna get there.
You're a really modest guy. And you're just like, right?
Okay.
You're like, your whole thing is that you're modest. And someone's jealous, like, oh, look at him. He's so modest. I wish I could be that modest. Boom. Ayin Hara. What are you supposed to do about it?
Okay. So we're going to discuss that. This way. But you're right. Okay. You're touching upon the right thing. If you see the big picture, it starts with the Ten Commandments, right? Ten Commandments is the big chapters about the whole Torah. It starts with Anochi Hashem Elokecha, right? I am your God. And the last one, which usually the 10th is the last step, is the conclusion of the whole thing, is what? The 10th commandment of the 10 commandments?
It's the last one.
I am your God?
No, that's the first one.
Right, yeah.
The 10th one. Maybe we should take another beer. lo tachmo.
Machine.
You should not, right? You should not desire
your wife.
not just the wife, his field, his house, da 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 da. And in many ways, the conclusion of the whole thing, meaning you want to know if you have reached the 10 Commandments, if you have reached the level where you really understand the basic of all things. Conclusion: don't envy someone else, what someone else has. This is where you know you have made it in a way. So I understand that. We understand that everybody here has a place and a special mission, something specific he has to do. No one here can really compare himself to anyone. But what happened is that there is a balance of justice in the world. There are energies of justice balance, like karma you were saying, right? Like we speak between Yaakov and Esav. If we are up, he's down. If we are down, he's up. There has to be a balance in the world in terms of energies. Nature itself rebalances itself, right? When it's too much toxicity, whatever, the storms, whatever, it destroys the thing and then renews itself. Same thing with energy. If you send the energy and you look at someone and say, oh, why does that person has that? Like he's such a crook. Or not even he's such a crook. Look, he says that I'm as good as him. Why does he deserve that, not me? You're sending an energy that pushes a judgment in the world and re-examine the situation, the balance. Now, what do we do to protect ourselves from that? We protect ourselves with that with Tzniut. And that, by the way, is the real thing about Tzniut. We constantly think of Tzniut, because we think of women for Tzniut, but it's men as women. Tzniut being, like you say, is being modest, is being a bit hidden, is being, because what happened if you're not Tzniut? Then you're exposing yourself, whether it's physically, whether it's who you are. You're being a balgaiva about who you are. You expose. It pushes people. It attracts the eyes, and that's gonna bring the ability to lose what you have and what you have earned, even what you have earned, and sometimes give you more than you have earned. But
I don't understand it. Like, if somebody's right, it's a 10 commandment. Don't judge somebody. Don't
envy.
Right. Don't envy. Don't be jealous. Of
Jealous.
else,
Right.
Right. So if let's say I'm like, let's say somebody's jealous. You have, you have the most beautiful wife, or you're the most modest, or they have like a great home, right? Why does that put a negative on the person who has it? It should put a negative on the person who's jealous.
So yes, technically that would make sense, right? That would make sense. The thing is, we project that thing on someone. It's like you're irradiating certain things on the person, but again, you have ways to protect yourself. First of all, it's different if you expose yourself or you're not exposing yourself. If you're exposing yourself, it's like you're inviting the evil eye to come into you,
Sure.
Right?
Granted,
right?
If a guy gets
It's
a
like you're
Ferrari
opening the
and
door,
people are
right?
jealous,
Exactly. It's like you're opening the door for that. If you're someone who is modest, first of all, we have a basic energy. The more something, that's why it says, the more something is hidden, the more something is holy. Right? You ever heard about that term, that concept is Chazal? The more you do something in the hidden, the more it's holy. So when you act like that and you behave like that, you create a protection. Plus, if you are someone who is pure and do mitzvot and like do things that create a positive energy, and as I'm going to quote my Rebbe, who says the best protection against Ayin Hara, there's two best protection. The best protection against Ayin Hara, my Rebbe said, is Ayin Tov. If you are someone who constantly see good, you are like completely counterbalancing, like we said about balance of energies. He's sending Ayin Hara, you're sending Ayin Tov. You're completely bouncing back, basically. because you have that force. And you're someone who spread the goodness of the eye. If the badness of the eye comes, then it protects you from Ayin Hara. You won't be affected. It creates that positive energy of Ayin Tov that prevents those negative things, right?
Okay.
The second thing that Chazal said is, if you know 100% that everything comes from Hashem, but I'm not saying just like 100%. Like you're really convinced about it, right? You feel it. Like, I made those $100,000 today's deal. I didn't have anything to do. I did my ishtadlut, but it's 100. It could have come any way possible. It's straight from Hashem. Okay. Now, I'm going to say something. It's based on Rav Dinovich that's very powerful. I'm listening to, and he said, this is the real secret when we speak about Tzniut, about women. It really has nothing to do with their body. It has to do with, so for example, why do we want, so you say the woman brings the bracha in the home. And that's why the woman are asked to be more tznius. Because if the woman exposes herself too much on the outside, right, then other men might look at her. But worse than that, not men, all the women are going to look at her. And if women knew is that really what's happening is that, oh, well, she has a nice car. She's tall. Oh, she's beautiful. It's like, and there's more danger for no other woman to look at the woman. Did you ever see how other women look at each other? Much more than men. A man it's pure desire. It's like a little very animalistic. Mm-hmm. In general, not you guys, but regular men.
Plan the other's demise.
Right? The woman, she looks at the other and it's like analytic things. Like, okay, this is Victoria's Secret, Bebe or whatever, and they're gonna see, and it smells like Chanel, right? So when this happens, it creates an Ayin Hara which might after affect the husband, and because the bracha of the home comes through the wife, and if the woman knew how much she affects her husband in those things, she will be much more tznius in her behavior more than in how she dresses. But how he dresses is also important. But it's not the matter. You can have someone who have a miniskirt and still be super holy and tzniut, because it's not necessarily what you're saying. It's like the way you behave. You can have someone very respectful, very not out there and bragging about her new diamond or her new car or whatever. And this can happen even later. When you get older, when you're a grandma, whatever, you look at, oh, she has a nice watch, she has a nice house in the Hamptons, right? It is many levels, many age, and really all has to do with intention. So to conclude that whole concept is that the Ben Ish Chai actually says 99%. I think he's the one who says that, him or the Gemara, but 99% of the problems that comes to people is because of the Ayin Hara. 99%, I think it's 99%, but like a crazy number like that, of death that happens to people is because of Ayin Hara. Which it's like, it sounds extreme. It's like, okay, you're 40, okay, we got it. We're speaking about Ben Ish Chai here, okay? It's not, and the Gemara itself says the same similar statement, meaning that we don't realize how we affect each other. And the problem with Ayin Hara is that we're completely spitting in the face of God in saying that you don't know what I need. I know what I need. I know what I want. Understanding that is saying, if I know who I am, I know where my place is, I don't need what you have. It's like you trying to be like someone else is inviting the Ayin Hara, right? You have to really look at yourself as saying, there is only one like me, and I should not want to be like anyone else, because if you're someone else, who is going to be you, right? So that's it's a big spit in the face of God of having jealousy. Jealousy has destroyed everything since the beginning. The brothers and Yosef, Cain and Hevel, Yaakov and Esav, and non-stop. And that's our challenge. Our challenge is to really realize ourselves and tell our wives, or soon-to-be wives, or like anybody you know who has a wife or a girlfriend, that this is a very important thing to know about yourself, that they should change their look at Tzniut. It's not you dressing, being sexy. No. It's not about that. It's about how people are going to desire what you have. Or you're pretty, well, guess what the ugly girls wish? They wish they had your face, or they wish they had your body, right? So it is a challenge, and like I said, the way to protect myself from that is, well, tzniut, meaning being modest, not showing off, being humble about things. Ayin tov, always speaking about the good you see in people. That's your most powerful tool. If you're constantly speaking good, then whatever is negative won't have enough energy to destroy the good you're spreading. And the last thing is, like I said, you realize that everything comes from God. That there's not one thing that comes to you without God's help. You understand? It's all. So that's the basic thing of TISSA, why we don't count the person directly, because we don't want to come to a situation where you have a rich guy giving chatzi shekel and the poor guy giving chatzi shekel, and counting this one and thinking, oh yeah, this rich guy, look what he has. Oh, this poor guy, and the poor being relatives of the rich and stuff like that. So everybody was looked at the same, because at the end, you have nothing to be compared with. There's only one like you. That's the concern, how you can best protect your business and protect your home, and the parnasa you're gonna have is to be humble about it, serious about it, and when you hear about someone else's success, celebrate. Be really happy for that. That's what happened with Aaron, and that's why he was able to be a Kohen. When Moshe Rabbeinu came he said, I am Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? Said, Aaron was so happy for him. He said, wow, I'm his older brother. Why shouldn't I be, the prophet, ultimate? He was rejoiced that Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen to do that. And what is the only bracha that we give to, the bracha that was chosen among Klal Israel to be between two people when you bless your children? Yes, but that's what the Kohanim do. But when we bless our kids, we bless our kids Friday night. It's Simcha, right? Kefraim v'Menashe, right? Simcha Elohim Kefraim v'Menashe. So what was that? Why those? Why not bless you like Yaakov, Abraham, and Yitzchak, or like Moshe and Aaron? Because it's the only time where clearly it says in the Torah, even though we don't barely speak about them, the only time we speak about them is basically at that time where there was a switch where one became greater than the other in terms of for the future, and therefore there was a switch of hands, and no one was jealous of the other. The two brothers said, if that's what it's supposed to be, yes, it's supposed to be. I respect that, and I honor that, and I am who I am, you are who you are. And that's what we bless our kids. This is what we want for our kids. This is the tikkun of going back to Cain and Hevel, going from the beginning. It's crazy. Meaning that you want to know what the real blessing is. A real blessing is when you realize there's only one like you, and you should deserve to get whatever you need for yourself. And I don't want anything to do with it, because I deserve a whole different type of blessing. What's good for me. So it's a very powerful. It's a very powerful teaching, and the whole bracha world depends on that. So that's it works on individual level. It works on a nation level. Now we just spoke on the individual level. Here it speaks on the nation level, where you can have a plague. And guess what? How many people have been? Why are the Jewish people constantly like in trouble? We have a lot of nations who look at Israel and say, how is this possible with those people? Look at, they're still here. They just survive. Look at Israel. They're beyond everybody. Everybody speaks about them. More than 60% of Nobel Prize. Jews. And the ones who are, exposing themselves might not be on the most humble level, and we are constantly attacked through AYIN HARA from the nation. It's not anti-Semitism, it's the basic energy coming from that desire, that jealousy. Maybe because we say, hey, we're Jews, we're better, because some actually do that. And I know many who look down and better. I'm the chosen nation, we're better than non-Jews, or that. If you think like that, that's like dangerous. And then, because at the end, God loves you, yeah, but God loves every human being. And you were not chosen because you were greater. You were not chosen because you were more handsome. We know from the Jewish nose. We're not chosen because you were a mighty nation. You were chosen because you were one simple, normal people. Nobody was different than you. You were just that neighbor from the corner of the street that nobody cares about. And that's what Hashem wants to show, is that everybody has its own responsibility, its own power. You were given special power, but it's all a gift. Hashem, meaning the only reason you're Jewish, it's not because you're better, it's because you were given a gift, thanks to the action of also Abraham Avinu, all that, and you have a responsibility. But the moment you start thinking you're better, you're greater, you're inviting AYIN HARA, and that can be the destruction of the Jewish people just because of that. The plague, like it says here. So we have to be very, very careful not to think with too much with gaiva in general. We have to be humble. And how we told to walk, right? As Jews, it's Shulchan Aruch. It says how you're supposed to walk in the street. You see, you have to walk like that, proud with the nose up. No, Shulchan Aruch says you should look down. I mean, obviously not too much down because you don't want to hit your head against the thing, right? But you should look with humility, down, straight, strong, but down. Because if the moment you're going to show, or you want to show, I'm better than you, I'm greater than you, AYIN HARA is going to attack you, you're going to lose everything that you're supposed to have. Because the moment we start thinking we're greater or we deserve more, then we lose the vessel of being a recipient for God's blessing, because we're abusing it. We're using God's crown, so to speak, to feel better about ourselves, and that's completely wrong.
Here.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Because we all suffer from the same sickness. We all want to feel special, and at the same time, we are special.
Especially in today's world where
It's all
like
competition.
it's like you're unique, you're special, you're like in every movie character has like the hero, the this. Like everybody tries to kind of sees himself as the ultimate person.
Yes.
And or they get depressed because they feel like they're not. But you're just like everyone else.
Yeah, and it's crazy because today's society, I mean, like the Satan, so to speak, loves this society. It's like every movie or commercial or things is that have that beautiful Maserati or Ferrari or like Lamborghini, and that with the chains and the ring or whatever it is that we think is greatness.
But I still want the Lamborghini.
Yeah, that's fine. But there's a Lamborghini and you like, show up in front of everyone and say, yeah, you want to drive it? Yeah, like relax, Kev, relax. But that's, and by the way, I conclude my thing with that, is that it says that the Moshiach is going to come on a donkey. Now, why don't you say he's come? Right? Why don't you say Moshiach comes on the stallion, on a black stallion? Stallion. Why don't you say that Moshiach is going to come on a Ferrari or in a chariot? Right? Moshiach is going to come. I'll put him in a Lamborghini. Yo, it's the man. No.
Yeah, well, if they said that he's going to come on a bull, then it could be a Lamborghini because Lamborghini's considered a bull.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying good.
So what car company is going to come out with a donkey as their logo?
So I like how you think. The new car
let's start
brand
a car company.
called
Make
Donkey.
it a donkey. That way, when Mashiach comes, he's driving in our car. And we have ultimate advertising.
Oh, the best! You're thinking like a Jew, and that's the
We'll
idea.
have Chabad post. Rent the space until then.
Grab Mashiach's car.
So that's the idea, is that
Man.
the donkey represents the fact that Moshiach is going to be, it's going to be Moshiach because
So
he's
why
not
they
going to
do it
show
the
up.
Chamo?
What?
That's why they have the Chamo thing?
Yeah. Chamo is materiality, but it's going to be riding on it. It's not going to have it on top of him, or like he's going to use materiality to be there, but he's not going to use the material to show off or to take a black stallion or whatever. So that's a little bit the idea of the end of time, if we want to really be successful and come out with pride and not shame of being Balgaiva.